his post. Am I the asshole for making our daughter clean our horses' stalls against her will? My older daughter was against them. She's much more princessy and didn't want to deal with the mess and chores that come with horses, but we told her it wouldn't be something she'd have to deal with and that her younger sister promised to take care of it all. You're working from behind the eight ball already because she didn't want the horses. Her sister wanted the horses. Two adults made the decision to buy the horses, and yet somehow she ends up cleaning the stables. Make it make sense. How on earth does that happen? We wanted her to... Wait, sorry. Recently, the older daughter has been disrespectful at home and staying out too late, and her grades have been slipping. We warned her to shape up, but last week when we heard she'd been needlessly insulting to her younger sister while I was running errands, I told her she'd be cleaning out the stable each day for the next week as punishment and that her sister would get a break. She got really upset and offended and said she promised she'd never have... We promised she'd never have to go in there or have to scoop horse poop. I said, I promised it wouldn't be one of your chores, of course, but obviously a punishment is supposed to be something outside of your normal chores and something you won't like. She's been doing it for 3 days now and seems to be very resentful of our broken promise, acting very disgusted and keeps begging to get out of the rest of it. But I said I thought it's very fair and she's overreacting. Am I the asshole? I don't know how it happened, but somehow I'm like, nope, not the asshole. A punishment is supposed to be something that you don't like to do. Admittedly, it sucks that she didn't even want the horses and now she has to clean the horse poop and clean the stables or whatever. But you should have thought of that before you were being a little, you know what. A week of doing something that you don't like to do. There's a contract, but I didn't even, the punishment doesn't make sense. Instead, you should do something there was a reasonable expectation, like make me do the dishes twice as often or something. No, I think this is completely fine. I don't think this makes you an asshole. I'm surprised Reddit didn't side with him. I'm not, because Reddit and the internet in general is like, if you promised, you can never break the promise. A promise is like legally binding. The only thing more severely fucked up in Reddit's opinion than breaking a promise is not respecting a contract. If you made a promise to break a legally binding document, the website would explode. They would have to take it offline. Because they'd look at it like the same way a lawyer pores through like the criminal code in order to determine, well, yes, maybe your daughter threw boiling hot water on her sister, but at the same time, you promised she would never have to clean the stables. Well, like, I guess I should have made you promise not to throw boiling hot water on your sister. I think that even if he is the asshole here, I think he's the asshole in a very, very small way. And I think the comments are going to blow him out. I think they're going to say things like, how is your child supposed to ever trust you ever again when you told her she wouldn't have to clean the stables and then she had to clean the stables for a week as a punishment? I think that they're going to go off on this dad. I think they're going to say things that are like, I hope you enjoy the next 6 months of her living with you, because as soon as she turns 18, don't be surprised if you never hear from her ever again. You're the asshole. You bought 2 horses for your younger daughter and promised the older daughter she wouldn't have been involved in their care. Italicized, you broke your promises. There were plenty of adequate and appropriate punishments available you could have given your daughter for staying out late and letting her grades slip. Are you deliberately trying to stir up resentment between the 2 sisters? Because this is how you get resentment between 2 sisters. Do you want ants? Because this is how we get ants. You broke your promise. Younger sister also benefits from the punishment and may accuse the older sister of stuff to retain these benefits. 15,000 upvotes. Yeah, or she fucking maybe didn't, because that's not even in the post in the first place. 15,000 people said, yeah, that insane headcanon, definitely, that sounds right to me. Especially when it seems the straw that broke OP's back, it was when he heard she had been needlessly insulting to the younger sister. Seems good old dad here was relatively fine with the other issues, but how dare his horrible eldest be mean to his precious golden baby? Also, I wonder where he heard that from. I'm betting next time little sis gets tired of taking care of her gifts, OP will hear of something bad his eldest did to her once again. This kid didn't do anything. At least there's like no, I don't even want to say no proof. There's not even the suspicion to begin with, but people are convinced. 7,500 people are like, you cracked the case wide open, Sherlock. How badly could she have needlessly insulted the younger sister that a reasonable punishment is cleaning up for 2 horses for a week? Am I the only person that does chores? Someone's gotta do it for the entire lifespan of the animal. 1 week is like it's a flap of a hummingbird's wings. It's gross. And she didn't buy the horses in the first place. This shit is one. How often do I clean up shit? Like literally every day. Sometimes more than once a day if I gotta change my baby's diaper. She explicitly didn't want the horses. Don't insult your sister. I'm not saying there aren't better punishments. I'm just saying that this doesn't seem that bad. Do you have any idea how bad it smells? That's why it's a punishment. What is it supposed to be like? Hey, you have to watch like 30 minutes of Netflix every night? I don't understand what the... It's supposed to be annoying. It's supposed to... The first 3 days of the punishment are so that you can stew and be like, I can't wait to never fucking see my dad ever again. He's such an asshole. And then like sometime around the 4th day, you're like, you know what? I probably shouldn't have been so mean to my sister. And then the last 3 days are like, okay, I've learned my lesson and I'm just going to serve my time and not let it happen again. That's why it's a week-long punishment. If you gave her a punishment for 30 minutes, she would just lean heavy into the resentment energy. -2, only child take? I'm losing it. Like, what should he have done? Don't be mean to your sister! Don't be mean to your sister! I told you not to be mean to your sister. Hey! You gotta listen to me. Stop being mean to your sister. You gotta put some kind of punishment in it to make it stick. He shouldn't have given her a punishment that benefited the younger sibling. Motherfucker, these people got shit to do. Go get out my fucking like Google Calendar, 8 p.m. Let me spend an hour brainstorming the perfect punishment that fulfills like 25 different criteria. It's like life's too short, man. You give her something insane pops up in the top of your head. You go, that's too crazy. Then you dial it back a little bit and you go 1 week in the stables. He's not making her sleep in there. She's got to shovel some poop. You guys are so lucky that I don't have a sibling. Because if I had a sibling, there would be no argument against me right now. The only thing that people are saying against me is -2, you're an only child. If I had a sibling, you would have to accept that I'm right because you're attacking my character instead of my argument. It's called an ad hominem. So you're making her clean up shit as a punishment? Yeah, you're the asshole. You've deliberately chosen something you know she will hate. That's just spiteful. It's not spiteful. She has to hate it. It's a punishment. I'm losing my mind here. I'm not saying you should like make her not eat dinner or just give her like those stale crusts of bread and like brackish water or something like that. But that's what you're supposed to... If you have to teach a lesson to your child, you have to give them something that they don't like to do. Punishment is revoking privileges or taking away electronics, maybe even grounding/loss of allowance, not shoveling shit. Listen, I'm not a 17-year-old girl. I think if you gave me the choice between shoveling shit for 30 minutes a night for a week or taking my phone away, I would shovel the shit. For sure. Maybe that means that taking the phone away is a better punishment. But I feel like removing her ability to socialize with her peer group is like more damaging than, oh, that poop smells a little bad and I got to shovel it into a bucket or something like that. You might be, socially turning her into a pariah. She's going to have to catch up with... Again, I'm not 17 years old, but I imagine the group chats probably have like 5,000 messages in them a night. By the time she gets her phone back, she's going to be reading like In Search of Lost Time or something like that. She's going to be non-contemporaneous. You're the asshole. Why does your 13-year-old get a break from her responsibilities when the 17-year-old fucks up? Well, the 13-year-old didn't do anything right. Liz, it's not perfect. We can all agree that it's not a perfect punishment, but at the same time, why are so many people resentful of the younger sibling that, as far as we know from the facts of the case, was merely the victim of being insulted? I'm the scapegoat. Oh, that's why. I'm the scapegoat child of my family, and I recommend you look at your biases. Well, I recommend you look at your biases because you're inserting your own biases into the post where the information that you're insinuating is there doesn't exist. The 13-year-old has two horses, and you think the 17-year-old is the princess. Okay, Your Honor, let me write a biography, an itemized list of everything I've ever given to both of my kids over the last 17 years. And then you can see if I'm treating one that's with superior treatment to another. It's driving me crazy, man. Right. I also noticed that. I also share the same bias as you and made something the fuck up without even seeing it. I physically cringed when I read the word princess. Ironically, horses are generally associated with princesses. It almost feels like some sort of projection. It almost feels like some sort of projection. Princesses are not associated with horses. Princesses ride horses, and then there are a 10x the amount of royals that work in the stables that are shoveling the shit. You could be a princess and not want to shovel horse shit. The princesses weren't the ones taking care of the horses. They're the ones after the horses are taken care of, they put the brush on their hand and go like this. Pretty baby, pretty baby. You're the asshole. She's going to resent her sister more and trust your promises less. You should have kept your word and found an alternative punishment. Why don't you suggest one, Spike 2021? If it's so easy. You should eat less and exercise more. Any tips to make that happen? Gotta go. Trust is so fragile. If you teach your child that you will go back on your promises intentionally to hurt them, that's a lesson they're going to remember. The point of the punishment is learning a lesson. I think the lesson is if you're rude to your family when you're still under your family's care, you're going to have to shovel some shit. It's going to be unpleasant. You can be a capital B word when you're on your own, when you're paying your own rent, and then you can suffer the ramifications of nobody wanting to speak to you because they think you're mean. What the parents are trying to do is set up like a scaffold where you can make mistakes, learn from those mistakes, and then be like, oh, I didn't like the way that feels. As an adult, I'm gonna endeavor to not do that. You're the asshole. You made a promise and you broke it because you have a golden child. I always forget that I'm definitely getting a vasectomy, man. It's not that only children are weird. It's that everybody with a sibling hates their parents and their siblings. They're like, you have to have a second kid so that both of your kids can be as fucked up and resentful as I am. I love everybody, man. -2, -2. It's only making me more confident in my decision here. Your oldest daughter isn't the golden child, obviously, so you want her to be Cinderella. Edited to change Cinderella to Cinderella. This shit is so good, dude. It's crazy. Info, have you asked your 17-year-old why her grades are slipping and she's acting the way she is? Okay, reasonable question. Honestly, followed by insane reply. My guess is that her parents bought her younger sibling horses that cost thousands of dollars and call her a princess because she wants nothing to do with them. Hey, just wondering why your grades, what used to be like an A student, you're getting C pluses lately. What happened? Oh, I've been going through a lot lately. My parents bought my younger sister 2 horses. It doesn't stand up to the smell test. It doesn't make any, grades are probably slipping because she's 17 and she's got her first taste of like independence and a social life. And that shit is like more entertaining than school, especially when the benefits that you get, the rewards for being a good student are like off on the horizon. You're like, oh, hey, you should really study instead of hanging out with your friends. You'll probably never see your friends here again after high school, but if you do well, you get to do a good college, and then in 15 years, you could have a good job, which has a great opportunity for promotion, and then you could get retired, by age 60 or something like that. Like, grades are probably slipping. She's got more immediately exciting things going on in her life. This is my guess. Or I don't know, maybe she's playing Final Fantasy 14. Why do you think her grades are slipping and she's been acting out? You buy your younger daughter 2 horses. They're not cheap. What did you get your older daughter? Edited the ad because this one's really angered me. You called her a princess because she said no to wanting horses, when actually that's a very mature decision because it shows she's aware it's a big responsibility and doesn't want to take it. I think you're an ass of a parent. Why? I guess I'm mature because I've never wanted horses either. You got your younger daughter 2 horses, and yet on your older daughter's 16th birthday, you merely got her a Tesla Model 3. You piece of shit. Proceed directly to jail. I had to get like out of that one, or you're right, I was gonna have like a stroke.